Donald Trump claims that Kamala Harris doesn't do interviews, and now he's wishing that were true. She's been on a tear lately, and in breaking news, I have the just released highlights from her sit down with Howard Stern, and together they identify a Trump weakness that is worthy of pointing out and repeatedly poking. Harris's appearance on the Howard Stern Show is interesting because the one-time shock jock was at one time Donald Trump friendly. The celebrity huckster would frequently appear on the program to engage in some misogynistic banter and promote his latest money-making gimmicks. But since then, Howard Stern has matured and evolved and is now considered an excellent interviewer, whereas Donald Trump is in a Benjamin Button phase of life and his mind has clicked into reverse. And you know he has to feel betrayed by Stern's obvious preference for Harris and disdain for him. So baba booey to that. Let's begin with their discussion about Trump backing out of a scheduled interview with 60 Minutes with Harris's interpretation. And again, the irony is thick considering Trump's frequent talking point about Harris avoiding interviews. And on the other side, I'll share their discussion about Trump's Achilles heel, something that should be concerning to all Americans.
You're coming here. You went on The View this morning.
Yeah.
You're going to the shows. You did 60 Minutes. By the way, I thought what was so amazing about 60 Minutes is the fact that Trump turned it down.
Yeah.
I mean, it just says so much. He didn't want to be fact-checked. This is maddening. This is insanity. What do you mean you don't want to be fact-checked?
I think that, Howard, people ask me, what do you think is going on and what is the tension here? What's at stake? And there are many things, and I can be much more articulate than what I'm going to say. But ultimately, I do believe that this is an election that is about strength versus weakness.
Yeah.
And weakness as projected by someone who puts himself in front of the American people and does not have the strength to stand in defense of their needs, their dreams, their desires, the work that must happen to make sure that we are a secure nation, that we are nurturing and protecting our alliances around the world, that we are supporting America's military, that we are fighting to bring the cost of living down for working families, that we are building businesses, building growth.
And now for the reveal. The Stern-Harris discussion turned to Trump's odd and obvious affinity, something that is a weakness for the security of the United States. And if you had COVID and dictator on your Trump bingo card, game over, you win.
Did you ever think in your lifetime you would see a Republican not supporting NATO and wanting to disassemble NATO? I mean, what world are we living in?
And
this
NATO,
is so weird.
NATO, which is the greatest military alliance the world has ever known.
It's what my father's general
strength.
Yeah.
That is strength to embrace that alliance as America, as Americans, and he would walk away because he admires dictators.
Well, what did you
more
think?
Than he does.
What did you think of this thing that just came out today? That Bob Woodward's book was saying that Trump was sending COVID tests to Putin, and Putin said, "Don't let anyone know." I mean, what is going on? What do you make of that?
So I actually said it even in the debate. I believe that Donald Trump has this desire to be a dictator. He admires strong men, and he gets played by them because he thinks that they're his friends.
Yeah.
And they are manipulating him full time. And manipulating him by flattery, and with favor. And so in the midst, to your point, as reported by Bob Woodward, in the height of the pandemic, and remember, and your listeners will remember, people were dying by the hundreds.
Yeah.
Everybody was scrambling to get these kits, the tests, the COVID test kits.
Couldn't get them.
Right. Couldn't get them anywhere.
Right.
And this guy who is president of the United States is sending them to Russia, to a murderous dictator for his personal use?
Well, you only wish Putin would have gotten COVID and dropped dead. I wish that.
Well, the point being, that is just the most recent stark example of who Donald Trump is, that he secretly sent COVID test kits for the personal use of Putin, of Russia, an adversary to the United States, when he was talking about Americans should be putting bleach in their blood. Think about what this is. Think about this person who wants to be president again, who secretly is helping out an adversary when the American people are dying, doesn't support our friend Ukraine, doesn't support, therefore, something America should always and has always, by the way, been a champion of, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity, which means the importance of standing against anyone who tries to take another nation by force.
Right.
There is so much to unpack here. First, Harris is doing interviews, so Trump will have to retire that talking point and focus on those immigration and disaster relief lies. Second, Trump's affinity for Putin and lack of public support for the Ukraine is contrary to American values and definitely contrary to Republican values. And third, and most telling for me, is Trump avoided the 60 Minutes interview just like he avoided another debate. I think after the last debate, he realized that between fact-checking and his impulsive and odd streams of consciousness, he is not going to be cut any slack by media and social media. This time around, he is being held 100% accountable for his crazy words. So instead of going upstream, he's going downstream and will direct all of his energy towards the base and MAGA-friendly media and hope for a big turnout. The strategy is a tremendous and desperate Hail Mary pass like the world has never seen before, believe me.